The next one is your home. The general rule, it's kind of funny, but the general rule I tell people is you want to make your house less attractive to be getting robbed than your neighbors.
When you consider a neighborhood, is there something that you're looking for in that neighborhood that would pique your interest?
Yes, sir, there are. There are several things approaching a neighborhood from a criminal perspective that you look for. Key things. First and foremost, I look for settled homes because people whom are of a socioeconomic status to be able to afford a particular type of home usually have disposable income. Meaning, from my perspective, that they have jewelry or ready cash that's available to be taken. Middle-class homes get hit less in burglaries just because of that. From me, anyway, from my perspective. In a neighborhood, I'm looking for well-kept homes, yards with really nice fences. Because if you can afford a $10,000 fence to go around your home, then I'm sure the inside of your home is very nice too.
More specifically now about the house.
Sure.
If you you go through the neighborhood, a particular house draws your attention. What is it about the house that you really want to pay attention to as to whether or not that's a house that you want to go in or pass by?
People need to empty their mailboxes. People need to have their neighbors pick their older newspapers up out of the lawn. Even if they're not there, for most burglars, I won't go in a home that doesn't look manicured because I don't believe the people there have the money to manicure the lawn, therefore they don't have expendable income. But if you're in a neighborhood that's median income's probably $250,000 between the spouses a year, and the yard's not manicured, I just think they're on vacation. And I will go to that house. So picking up the mail, making sure that your neighbors take care of it. Also, like with their trash cans and stuff, instead of pulling their trash like on trash day, that's like a big thing. You can go through and see who's home and who's not just by the trash being there or not.
Do you look, does it have anything to do if there's vehicles in the driveway or in the garage? Or?
Yes, sir. I've spoken with a detective about that particularly. If I see a vehicle parked in the driveway or in front of the home, I'm most certainly not going there. It's a waste of my time. Why would I do that when people that aren't home generally don't park their cars in front of their homes?
Befriend your neighbors. Ideally, those are directly across from you, because you have a front view of that house all the time.
What about a nosy neighbor? If you're going through a neighborhood and you see someone, you know, looking out the window at you, or maybe they walk out their front door to look at you, is that a deterrent?
Oh, most certainly. I applaud the efforts of Neighborhood Watch, because there have been so many times that I've gone and cased a neighborhood and stayed away from that neighborhood because it was obvious to me that there were people out walking, that they had the VIP program, and it makes a lot of difference. It'll totally deter me from even going anywhere near that neighborhood. And I don't want to come in contact with anyone, especially someone who can later identify me. Neighborhood Watch programs work.
Cars in your neighborhood. Usually they're going to case you out before they do an attack. And that can either be door-to-door salesman is a common one, and just casing the neighborhood in different forms, whether it's on foot or by car. Anytime you see a car, we'll see that we kind of live in a cul-de-sac right off the main road. So sometimes people just come in and just kind of sit and do a cell phone conversation. That's fine. If I see that, I will go outside and stand there so they see me that I'm watching them. The time they'll finally drive off. But you want to let them know that you're looking at them, and you want to look for people that cars you normally don't see or notice going down there, or driving really slow. And they may just be looking for a friend or something. They're new to the neighborhood. But if they're really going slow, that's a sign.
By driving down the alley and looking. That's a big thing. From my perspective, I'm a personal trainer. That's what I did besides crime. I jog a lot. So it would be nothing for me to go through the neighborhood and not be noticed. I mean, I have tattoos, but I wear long sleeve shirts that wick moisture, so you really can't see my tattoos. If you stop me, my vernacular is not that common criminal. So with that said, I would case neighborhoods on foot by jogging or walking.
Door-to-door salesmen, especially ladies, if you're home with your kids during the day, never open the door. I don't care. It's such a common technique. Sometimes there's one guy who's going around, an Encore guy. You can get shirts made to say Encore, right? I mean, it's not that hard. So criminals are crafty, depending on how experienced they are. So never open your door to car sales. What they can do, and sometimes they'll have their friends do it. Like they might go and get you open the door, go looking around. They'll make a call to their buddy. Say, oh yeah, this place is good. They got a nice TV in the front room, and a computer there. And then later they'll come. Their friends will come and rob you. One tactic that you want to do if you do get a door-to-door salesman, if you are home, I recommend never open the door, but you can talk through the door. Because they might be saying, okay, if nobody answers, if they selected your house, they're seeing if you don't answer and you go hide in a room, they might break in that house, depending what their intention is, right? But if you yell through that, I'm not interested, go away, I have the sign, no soliciting, go away. If you don't leave, and if they keep talking to you, then you can say, all right, I'm calling the police. They will take off, they won't hang around. At least now they know that somebody's in that house and you're prepared and you're taking action, they won't come in. But if you don't say anything, they might try to break in the house.
If you're not opening the door, that's telling me that you're not home. There's been times that I've broken into homes that people did not answer their door, and I ended up in the home 2 or 3 steps before I actually heard something and backed out and left. Or that I've dropped the glass window and I've heard a woman say, oh my God, and I've left. Actually, one time, a woman hollered to her son and said, go get the gun, and I certainly left. But people not answering their doors, things like that, I can understand why you wouldn't do it. But to a burglar, if I knock on your door and you don't answer, and I'm really knocking on your door, and I mean, to the point of frustration, and you still don't answer, you know, to me, that's like, well, they're not home.
Well, wouldn't it be, would you recommend to someone that if that happens, there's someone knocking very aggressively on the door, to at least go, obviously not open the door, but make verbal contact? What do you want?
You know, if it's a woman and they're worried about an intruder and they're just trying to stay in the shadows, grab the telephone and pretend like you're on the telephone and come to the door and say, just a minute, I'm on the telephone. And to me, that's a deterrent. 2 reasons. Number 1, you're home. Number 2, you have communication with someone else. So if I am a home invader instead of a burglar, there's communication there, you're with someone else. So if something happens to you, they have access to the police. It's just a smart way around that predicament right there.
So you would say, don't ignore the door. Go make verbal contact with
Right.
Yeah.
Even if you're standing 10 feet away and you're like, yeah, who is it? Oh, well, such and such. Well, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you stay there, I'm calling the police. That'll certainly deter anyone that's got an evil intent in mind. I mean, I know that Neighborhood Watch tell people you need to keep a light on your home when you're not there, and that's true because it's a deterrent. But don't put the light on in the front room right by the window. Put the light on in the center of your home where it's not easily seen, because you may be a person may be occupied with the internet or television or movie or headphones, and if I can't see shadows coming from that light, it makes me weary. And I don't do nighttime burglaries. I do daytime burglaries, but you can still see into a person's home and see light. And it makes me as a burglar weary to go into that home. So that's a really good deterrent, but just not in the front. Because if you're in the front and I can look and see your light source, and I can look at the light, knock on their door, and nobody comes, and I know they just turn the light on because they're not home. Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
I recommend getting peepholes. I always take a low tech and then a high tech. So if you don't want to spend the money for high tech, low tech works just as good. You get a peephole, you can see through that door. If you have all glass doors, that's not good because they can see right through. It's easy to break the glass. At least if you have 2 doors. One of the things you can do to increase the door strength is 3-inch screws. Normally they're like this, maybe an inch or less. Get the 3-inch ones, put them in there. Because what happens is when they try to bust that door through, those little ones are just going to fly right off. It's very easy. You don't have to be highly skilled to bust down the door pretty quick. So if you get those 3-inch screws in there, again, you're fortifying, you're making it harder. Now they have to use 5 or 6 strikes instead of maybe 1 or 2. Put a picture of it. Basically, it's a little it's good for kids to try to get out the doors, and they're like $2 at Home Depot. You put a thing, you just up and flip it over. So basically it's just another thing. So if they're trying to pick the lock or something, get out of that. Again, you're just adding a little bit extra resistance for them. All you're trying to do is slow them down. So if you see something pounding on the door, you can go to your response plan and get law enforcement on the way, get the kids to a safe room. It's very important.
So a good way to attract solicitors too is to you could put a no soliciting sign outside. The kids just wrote on a piece of paper and they drew a pretty picture around it and they put it on the front door. No one shows up at our house anymore.
People do this all the time and criminals know this. Do not hide a spare key out front on a lock that steals out of place. So do not do that. Give your neighbor a key if you're worried about locking yourself out. First places criminals tend to go are bedrooms, because they know that's where a lot of people, the master bedroom, they would keep their jewelries and their valuables.
I want to check the master bedroom because I do it very fast. I know what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a bunch of electronics and stuff, so I would go straight to the jewelry. I would go straight to the women's boudoir, looking specifically for their jewelry. Men don't really wear a lot of jewelry, women do. So I would go to their items first. On the way out, I might check the men's to see if he has watches or whatever. Go into the master bedroom closets because sometimes there's stand-up racks of jewelry racks in there. Also, I'm looking in the men's side of the closet for a safe. And I know that from experience, so I'd go in and look for a safe. Go from there. At that time, I've probably been in the house 3 minutes. And I'd walk around and look for an office because some people keep credit cards. Can't use a credit card to go make cash advances or anything, but I can go to Walmart and use a credit card and spend $600 or $700 and buy 2 or 3 televisions or whatever, and then sell it on the street or take it wherever and sell it. And I mean, people really need to pay attention to their offices because I can go in there and get lots of times people's financial records, get their account numbers, get their routing numbers. If I was into identity theft instead of just being a burglar, I'd probably be in a lot more trouble right now than what I am. But with that said, people really need to lock away those items.
What I recommend for safe rooms, you should have a safe room for every story of your house. So if you have a 2-story house, you want to have 2 safe rooms, one upstairs, one downstairs. Most home invasions happen between 10 and noon and Monday through Wednesday. Anybody want to take a gander why that is?
People are already on Friday, yeah.
People at work, right? Why do you think they stop tend to happen during lunch hour?
People come home for lunch.
Yes. And actually what happens is, when you look at some fatal home shootings, what happens is the owner will come home unexpectedly and they won't pay attention. Maybe the door's propped open, they walk in and their house is in act of being robbed. They startle the robbers and all of a sudden they take the gun out and shoot them. But if you're homeschooling, you're home during the day, again, your time when there's the high crime, especially those days, those blocks, so just be very careful. If you have children and you're home, if you have weapons, I suggest a firearm on every floor too, that you can get to in at least 3 to 4 seconds with a bullet in the chamber without a safety on. 3 to 4 seconds, time yourself. I think it takes less than 10 seconds for guys to break down the door and be wherever you're at. Because if you're home during the day and you're in the kitchen and you got kids running around, you don't have time to, again, like 10 seconds or less for a good thief to break into the house and be where you're at. You don't have time to hurl the kids, run upstairs, go to this big gun safe, you have all your rifles and stuff, and do this number code. And, come on, it's not going to work. So you can have the big gun safe in your garage or somewhere where you have the big hunting guns. That's fine, but we just have a little one. The refrigerator where she's at in the kitchen, and we have one next to the bedstand. I can literally be in my bed, got my gun in my hand without even getting out of my bed. Literally in 3 to 4 seconds. So, and again, I say keep the bullet in the chamber, no safeties. Let's say don't use a bedroom, but you just got to fortify it. You want to get a room where you can get people there. If you have like a master bedroom that has like another room where your closet is or your bathroom, you could go in that bedroom and the bathroom and closet, lock the door. What you want to do is have a gun you can easily access. I can be on the phone, I can usher kids, I can be on the phone with 911, I can have a gun in my hand, or I can, you know, have it in my pocket or something. If I have a shotgun, it's a lot harder to do that. It's just, I mean, yeah, it's good, it's easier, you don't be less accurate, but if you're 5 feet from somebody, you don't be that accurate even if you don't shoot to be able to hit that target. So I recommend handguns. Everybody has their own views on that. But you want to get into a safe room. Again, you want to be near the perimeter of the room. You want to get the door closed. If you have any bookshelves or anything, you could barricade that. Basically using what you would for an active shooter, but it's in your home, in a safe room, okay? If the point of the back starts breaking through shoots through the door, he starts breaking through, and you have your kids in a safe area, then you light them up with bullets if it comes through that door. But your goal is to have that phone with you and be on the phone with 911, and you can tell if they know you're in the house. If you just say like, we call the police, they're on the way. I don't think too many are going to stick around and see what happens. They're going to get out of there. So even by saying that can deter criminals. So it's very, very important how you have the home security plan. You want to have one for the downstairs, one for the upstairs. What if somebody breaks in the back versus the front of the house? It could be totally different. And those depend on the layout of your house, where you go. You want to get to cover, if your back wall is all glass, it's very easy to break into, they can see where you're going. You know, things you got to think about.
The front of the house versus the back of the house. The front of the house, I'm looking for visual pathways. What I mean by that is being able to see through the front windows into the home, or from the street at that, or from the sidewalk rather. And if I notice that there's not very many lights on in the home, or any lights on in the home, I'm going to walk up to the front door and knock on the front door versus ringing the doorbell. Now I'm going to knock and knock and knock until it's just pestering to make sure nobody's there. But in the process of doing that, I'm looking through the glass windows, those really beautiful doors that I mentioned earlier. And I'm paying attention to reflections and shadows inside the home.
So if you're on the phone with 911, you want to say there's home invasion in progress. Do not say there's a burglary. To a cop's mind, okay, I'm coming, the house was robbed, I'm coming to file a police report and try to console the people. The home invasion in progress means somebody's in there with a gun, most likely, and trying to rob them at gunpoint. You will have all kind of units, full force coming to your house. Another thing you need to know is what's the average response time for your police department. Mine's about 3 minutes. We live in more populated, they have a much more robust police force, they can get here pretty fast. If you live in the boonies, there's no church I was talking about had an issue, they literally waited almost, I think, 20 minutes to a half hour for a deputy to show up. But you could donate one in 20, 30 minutes. So you have to know what that response time is, that's how long you have to fence somebody off and get to a safe area.